Let me begin with candor. Geneva taught us with two important lessons. First, there is a willingness amongst most delegations to engage. And second, willingness alone is not enough. What we did not have was determined steer to turn to willingness into concrete progress. Too little time in Geneva was dedicated to narrowing options. Text grew, but clarity on the way forward did not. Delegations worked hard, yet many left with the sense that we moved in circles. So, if we continue in the same way, how can we expect to square the circle? The process must change, especially as the urgency of the pollution crisis is only increasing. As you know, every year more than 20 million tons of plastic leaks into lakes, rivers and seas. Almost every day I hear about new studies on the harmful effect of plastic pollution, or news on the impact of microplastics on our health and that of our children. Against this background, there is also a question of credibility. We all keep investing in this process, our time and our resources. And with each failed INC, it is increasingly difficult to justify the investments in a process that does not adjust course in response to failure. We cannot continue like this. We must have an honest discussion about how to make this process finally a success. Hopefully at a very well prepared INC 5.3 with a much more efficient process. Now let me say a few words about substance. Yes, discussions in the rooms were difficult. Positions were firmly stated, repeated, even without the slightest movement by some over those 2 weeks. And yes, it was frustrating at times. But I also heard something different. In the corridors, inside conversations, in the bilaterals that I've had, and I had many, there I heard more nuance, more openness, more willingness to explore a common ground. And that gives me hope. That tells me that while the agreement may not be exactly the ones that we imagined, it can still be the one that can deliver. And importantly, it could evolve over time. For this treaty to deliver, we should not give up on some of our core elements. We need global measures on plastic products and product design. We need sound decision-making, including votes when consensus fails. And we need clear references to sustainable consumption and production. And we need a financial mechanism that is proportional to the level of commitment agreed. So what does that leave us? The ingredients are obviously there. What we need is leadership and a strong process to assemble them. Starting now with the deployment of a shuttle diplomacy and consultations such as those that carried out by Japan and Chile towards the end of Geneva rounds. Excellencies, colleagues, Geneva was frustrating, yes, but it was also proof of that the will is alive and the solution is not out of reach. If we change the way how we work, if we bring process and leadership together with political will, then I still see a chance that we will bring us to a global treaty. Thank you.